It's a pleasure to be here in Philippines, and today is so special that we are together. It has been such a wonderful time being here in Philippines since the last 2 days and enjoying seeing the culture and seeing the brothers and sisters here. And especially today, when I meet all of you who are also on a religious path or a spiritual path, who guide many to get their wisdom in life. Because in today's world, we find that life is like a seagoing adventure, I would say. Just like Christopher Columbus, when he started out into the unknown to chart some new territories, he had no idea what the sea journey would be like. He had no definite maps of the world. He was not aware of the type of journey that he was undertaking, the wild sea creatures, the turbulent times that he might have to face. And he was not even aware of the silently moving undercurrents in the water. And he set out on a journey. The only thing he had with him was a compass that told him in which direction he is heading for. And with the help of this compass, he was successful to a certain extent. Brothers and sisters, life in the present time is also such. We are also living in an age which is known as the age of uncertainty, where we have no definite maps for the future times. And we have also set ourselves into the unknown future. We have no definite maps for the future times. We are not even aware of the type of turbulence that we might have to go through, and hardly we are prepared to face those turbulent times. We are not even aware of the silently moving undercurrents in the society, in our own life maybe. We are hardly aware of the types of creatures that we might have to encounter with in the future times. And the worst part is, we do not even have a compass that can tell us whether we are moving in the right direction or not. So, we are totally at the mercy of, yes? Yes? Let it be an interactive session, not one-sided. So, we are totally at the mercy of anyone? Yes? In today's world, we are more of crisis-driven than a vision-driven. We are moving, a situation comes up, and we probably change our direction a little bit. We move forward, another circumstance comes up or a challenge comes up, and we again change. And this is how we have been going on. Spirituality is that which gives a purpose and a meaning to our lives. So this is why we need to have a compass at least. And in the present time, I would say that there are three key propositions. And the three key propositions are, the first is, there is no turning back. things are not going to go back to those stable patterns of the past. And we see a world characterized by so many things that are happening. Global competition, revolutionary new technologies are coming in such a way, disruptive social transitions, uncertainty, and increasing complexity, accelerating change. And many others, we can go on listing them. So there is no turning back. Things are not going to go back to those stable patterns of the past. The second key proposition is that we must find some new bearings on which to roll on. And as we see that the world is characterized by so many things, so the bearings to move smoothly is essential. And it tells me, or it gives me a very highly developed sense of where I'm headed to and what I stand for. The values. And the third key proposition is different skills are required in the present times. And these are not those skills that we are taught in our school lives maybe or in our college days. No. These are known as self-managing skills like intuition has to be very powerful. Living in this age of competition, we must have courage. We must have willpower, strength, inner strength. Then only we can move on. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult, isn't it? It reminds me of a beautiful example that once there were two people, one Filipino and another person and they were walking through a jungle. Suddenly, they heard a roar of a lion. So the Filipino, he took off his jungle boots and put on his running shoes. Seeing this, I asked him, "What do you think of yourself? By putting on these running shoes, are you going to run faster than the lion?" So the Filipino said, "I don't think so. I can run faster than the lion, but at least I can run faster than you." Huh? The lion would catch hold of the one who is left behind. So in this world of great competition, what do we need? What do we need? To run ahead, what do we need? Yes? Which skill do we need? Which skill do we need? Self-managing skill. We need a great presence of mind. We need a great presence of mind. When to change our shoes. It can be ordinary shoes, but because the Filipino had the running shoes with him, he was able to run faster and save his life. So these are the skills that are required in the present time. Right? No turning back. Things are not going to go back to those stable patterns of the past. We must find some new bearings, the values that we stand upon, and the different skills that are required in the present time. So these are the three key propositions. And in today's age, which we call as the age of stress, anxiety, and fear, everyone in the world is going through these three things: stress, anxiety, and fear. And what is stress? Somebody has rightly defined stress as the pressure upon the resilience power. Stress is equal to the pressure that is on us and the inner strength which we don't have to cope up with the challenges. That creates stress within us. So if we want to overcome stress, either we increase our inner resilience power, the inner strength, or lower down the pressure. Simple as that. But this cannot be, the pressure cannot be decreased. It is increasing day by day. And the strength is coming low, getting low. So that is why we find people everywhere in the world, even young students, they are also experiencing so much of pressure of studies, maybe, of the expectations of their parents, of their own expectations in life. And maybe they do not have that inner strength to cope up with. So that is why everyone is experiencing stress. And the pressures are not just from one side. The individual is in the center and pressures are from all four sides. The first pressure is from the past. We have certain memories, unresolved situations which are lingering on our minds. Whenever we think of them, they create a pressure. The other pressure is from the future times. Living in this age of uncertainty, the fears that we have. So that is also creating a pressure. And two pressures in the present time. The two pressures in the present time are known as internal and external. External pressures, we know, where we don't have any control. The government policies are changing. The world is changing, where I do not have any control. But it is affecting my life. And the other pressure is internal pressure. And the internal pressure is of my own negative thinking. Whenever there is a pressure, we start thinking very fast. There are some negative thoughts. There are some waste thoughts. And this is the inside pressure, which is in my control, but I do not control it. So all the four pressures at one time. Supposing in the present there is a challenge from outside where I have no control. And in my past, there are some memories which I am reminded of where I had met with failures. So that is also creating pressure. The present challenges are creating pressure. The future, which is uncertain, that is creating pressure. What will happen? I don't know. And the fourth pressure of my own negative thinking. So when all the pressures come together, how much inner strength do we have to overcome it? And that is why the stress level increases in each and every human being. So when we are going through all these pressures, what happens? There is a cycle. And this cycle is what is known as the event reaction cycle. There is an event that comes up, or a problem, or a challenge, or a situation, or a circumstance, anything. When it comes up, it demands a response from the individual. Now, how am I going to respond to this challenge or problem? So, this problem has come, it is demanding a response from the individual. Now, when we have to encounter that challenge, then the reaction or the response would come out through the behavior. So, that response is going to come out through the behavior. Supposing there is a challenge or there is a problem, and at that time when it demands a response, I get angry. So there is anger, a negativity that is generated because of stress maybe. So the reaction is anger. Where will the anger come out from? So it influences, that anger influences the behavior. So it comes out through the behavior. Maybe I get wild, I get so angry. Now that anger feeds into the problem. Will it solve the problem or will it make the problem more complicated? What do you think? More complicated. It isn't resolved. So when it is not resolved and it's got complicated, again it demands a response. There is more anger generated. When there is more anger generated, again it comes out through the behavior. Maybe I get so angry at a person, and there is also stress that is influencing, and again that behavior feeds into the problem, making it worse. So the problem gets worse. Again it demands a response because it is not resolved. So again it demands a response. And this time we get furious. And that furious comes out through the behavior. Again that behavior feeds into the problem, making it out of control. And then we realize, if only, that is why there is a saying, turning molehills into mountains. The problem was very small, like a molehill, but it turned into a mountain. Who turned it? Who turned it into a mountain? As big as a mountain? Who turned it? Because I did not know how to respond. And then I sit back and think, only if I would have been a little bit calm in the initial stage, that this problem would not have gone so worse. But now it is too late. Now nothing can happen. So then, to solve the problem, what do? Time, money, energy, and resources. We use all the four. The problem has gone so worse. So much stress increases. It is affecting our health. Diabetes increases, blood pressure increases, and there are other problems that are created. And then to solve the problem, because the problem needs to be solved. So then to solve the problem, we have to hire maybe a lawyer or maybe some resource person to make it okay. And then the person would tell us, look, the problem has gone very bad. Now, the only thing is, if you can just go up to that person and say sorry, feel sorry for it, and have a mutual understanding, maybe some part will be resolved. And is it easy for us to go and say sorry? Yes? Is it easy for us to go and say sorry? No. Why? Because my ego comes in between. And I cannot let down my ego. And that ego increases the problem so big, make it so big. So turning molehills into mountains. And then there is a lot of stress. Sometimes it is beyond our capacity to handle that stress. But supposing a big problem, and when it demands a response, at that time, I calm down myself, relax, do some meditation, generate a positive response. And with that positive response, which influences my behavior very sweetly, I talk to the person maybe. I behave in a sweet manner, and that behavior feeds into the problem, making the problem resolved. And sometimes it is resolved in one cycle itself. Right? This is what time is demanding. If I want to generate a positive response and not create any stressful situations, then I need to calm down, meditate. Meditation helps us to calm down our minds. And instead of becoming furious, angry, it helps me to calm down. And when we calm down, and that feeds into the problem, then that problem, which is like a mountain maybe, we turn mountains into molehills. So it is my choice whether I want to turn molehills into mountains or whether I want to turn mountains into molehills. The tact is with me itself. Yes? What do you say? To lower down stress, we need to have or adapt a positive response. This is why it is essential. Time is demanding a positive response. Otherwise, things are going to go out of our control. And then it will be very difficult for us to manage. And especially to manage here. The negative thoughts, one after the other, will race into the mind, rising the stress level. Initially, there is tension, and then tension converts into stress, then stress converts into hyper stress, and then hyper stress converts into a nervous breakdown. And that is where people are landing up depression. Depression. And in that depression, so nowadays we find psychiatrists are increasing in the society to help people manage their stress and depression because it is not managed by themselves. And then we ask people, okay, let us practice some meditation. And what do they say? We don't have time. Sorry, we don't have time. That means they are trying to say we have complications so much in our life that we are busy in resolving them. We have no time for our own self. right? We have no time for our own self. And then at that time, we have to be very careful of a family and do not allow that family to ever enter your life. And which is that family? The family, first of all, comes misunderstanding. She's always first to enter anybody's life, right? But she's never alone. She's always accompanied by her companion, Mr. Doubt. Wherever there is misunderstanding, there is Mr. Doubt. And they are never alone. There is so much unity in this family that wherever they go, their four creation follow them. And the four creation is master jealousy, master hatred, master animosity, and master leg pulling. This family has so much unity in it that they stay together, and wherever they travel, wherever they go, in whoever's life they go together. Misunderstanding, she's always first to enter anybody's life. And how does misunderstanding come? Do you have a piece of paper and a pen? Can we do a small exercise? Do you all have a piece of paper and a pen? Yes? Just bring out your piece of paper and a pen. A small exercise. We can do a small exercise. Okay. A small piece of paper will also do. Everyone has? Yes? If someone sitting next to you don't have, please give them a piece of paper. It's a beautiful understanding how misunderstanding comes up, right? A small piece of paper will also do, a small piece of paper, just one exercise. You can cut the paper into 4 pieces also if it's a big paper. So everyone has got the piece of paper and a pen? Okay. Now draw a horizontal line. Draw a horizontal line on the piece of paper that you have got. Draw a horizontal line. Have you done that? Everyone? Okay. Now, write the first and the last letter of your first name at each ends. Write the first and the last letter of your first name at each ends. Have you done that? Everyone? Okay. Everyone done? Anyone who has not done yet? Write the first and the last letter of your first name at each end. Okay? So you have done it. Now, how many of you have put one letter here and one letter here? Raise your hands. One letter here, one letter here. Okay. How many of you have put 2 letters here, first and last here? Anyone? Two letters. Now just recall, what did I say? Write the first and the last letter of your first name at each ends. I was so specific. Write the first and the last letter of your first name, first and last, at each ends. So how many letters? 4 letters, 2 each end. And what did you do? How much you wrote? Only 2. Now, I'm having a doubt. I'm having a doubt that whatever I've been saying since half an hour, how much is misunderstood? If one simple sentence, 1 or 2 may have misunderstand, I can understand that. But everyone, no one did it right. So, I'm having a doubt. Is my communication okay? Are you able to understand me? Are you able to understand me or not? You are able to understand me? You are all educated people. And if you cannot understand a simple sentence, like the first and the last letter of your first name, at each ends, I was so specific. Now, where is the problem? On my side or your side? Are you sure? Huh? Are you sure? Or if Philippines people have one wavelength, huh? They all do the same thing. What? What do we say? Where is the problem? On my side or your side? Now you have a doubt. We are all educated people. How come none of us understood this sentence and everyone did it wrong? There is definitely some play in this. Don't you think that? You have this thought? There is some trick in this sentence. And we are a victim of that trick that is played. Do you have this doubt? Do you have this doubt? You see how misunderstanding comes? And from the beginning, I've been telling you, this is an exercise of misunderstanding. How misunderstanding comes in our life. And still you misunderstood me. After saying and repeatedly saying that this is an exercise on how misunderstanding enters our life between us. And after cautioning you also, then also you misunderstood. So now where is the problem? On your side or my side? Now it is creating stress. Huh? Yes? We can't pull this long because we do not have that much of time. Otherwise, the other 4 members will also come. And then it will be very difficult to handle our relationship, isn't it? You'd like to know where the problem was? Yes? Everyone would like to know where the problem is? Yes. So, when I was speaking the sentence, you were not listening to me. Because if you would have listened, you would have done it accurately. Because I was very perfect in my verbal communication. I was very perfect. Write the first and the last letter of your first name at each ends. And I spoke it 3 to 4 times. 3 to 4 times. But when I was speaking, you were not listening to me. What were you doing? Huh? No, after you got the paper, that's why I asked again and again, have all of you got the piece of paper? Have all of you got the piece of paper? After you got the paper, then I said, okay, now draw a horizontal line. So you had the paper, and after that only I started speaking. But still you are not listening to me. What were you doing? What were you doing? Anyone? What were you doing? You were looking at me. And what was I doing? What did I do? I was very perfect in my verbal communication, but my body language was saying something else. And what was my body language saying? Write the first and the last letter of your first name. You are looking at this finger. And this finger was misguiding each and every one. So everyone wrote first and last. You didn't understand the sentence. This is how misunderstanding comes in our life. We may be very clear in our minds what we want. We may be very clear in the verbal communication, but our body language sometimes says something else. And we are looking and understanding the message. We are not listening and understanding the message. This is the problem. This is the problem. So all of you saw this finger, which was doing like this, like the first and the last letter of your first name. Right? So this finger misguided all of you. Now it was very easy when I asked you immediately how many of you wrote first and last here and how many of you wrote two letters. It was very easy for you to admit your mistake. You accepted. When I asked you where the problem is, you immediately said the problem was on our side. As soon as you understood the sentence, it was very easy for you to accept. But in practical life, maybe after one day has passed and the next day, we ask our people, so have you done what I had said yesterday? And then everyone has done something else. And then we ask them, why did you do this? I never asked you to do this. I asked you to do this. And what will you say? Would you admit, yes, it was our misunderstanding? Will you admit? No. Because all have done the same. You would all tell me if I come after 24 hours and ask you, so have you written two words? You would say, sister, you have just said one word. And majority wins. Because every one of you have done the same mistake. And you would not admit that it is our mistake. You would always say, okay, if I have misunderstood, what about others? Everyone has done. So you have said it that way. Right? And this is how misunderstanding comes up. And wherever this misunderstanding is, and when we are not ready to accept, gradually, all of this whole family starts entering one after the other. And we hardly realize. People are talking on the phone. But even while talking on the phone, the other person is not seeing. But still we use our body language, this, that, this, that, this, that. And the other person standing right outside is looking at this body language, is trying to understand the message. And then would go and tell someone, just now I saw, she was talking about this. And when it comes up to you, you would say, I never spoke this. And the whole wave is, no, you said it. And what happens? A misunderstanding comes up. And there is a great misunderstanding, and then it becomes very difficult to handle our relationship. It becomes very difficult to handle a situation. We either feel as if there is jealousy, there is hatred, animosity, and they are trying to pull my legs. This is the feeling. So, stress has a message. And what is the message that stress has? So it is said stress is a messenger, it's a form of pain that comes to tell me that there is something I need to change. I need to bring a change in myself. And that messenger, stress is the messenger, that pain is the messenger that comes to tell me that in order to change, I need to learn something in my life. There is so many things over a period of time that we have learned which were not to be learned. So there are some things we need to unlearn and some things which we need to relearn in our lives. So this is the message that stress comes with. Whenever there is stress that is created here, that means there is that pain that comes to tell me I need to change. And pain is the messenger that comes to tell me that I need to learn something. I need to learn to listen well and not just look at the actions and understand the message. Otherwise, it is going to create a lot of problems in my life. So we have to be very good listeners if we really want to not allow stress come in our life. So stress comes with this message. And it is said that then we need to empower ourselves. And how do we empower? Three things. Just as if I need to increase my physical immunity to fight against the virus, then I need three things. And which are the three things to empower? First is to have proper nourishment. Second is to have rest, relaxation. And third is to have exercise. Three things essential for increasing the physical immunity to fight against viruses. Similarly, in this age of stress, anxiety, and fear, we need to increase our spiritual immunity. What is spirituality? Spirituality is that which is connected to the spirit, the soul, the energy within, the being, the conscious that is inside, the being in the body. We are all human beings. This body is human and the soul is the being in the body. The consciousness or what we call as the psyche, which is that energy, the soul, many names are given to that. So the spiritual immunity has also come down. When the physical immunity comes down, external viruses attack and we get a viral fever, viral cough, cold, etc. But if our physical immunity is strong, nothing can affect us. Similarly, in today's age, the spiritual immunity has come down. And when the spiritual immunity comes down, the mind starts reacting. So just as we nourish the body so that we get the strength, similarly we need to nourish the soul. We need to nourish the psyche. We need to nourish that energy. And how do we nourish that energy? How do we nourish the psyche? How do we nourish the being in the body? The nourishment for the psyche, for the soul is good thoughts. Good thoughts, positive thoughts, powerful thoughts. This is the nourishment for the psyche, the being, the consciousness. Regularly, if I know how to nourish myself, my willpower will increase, my psyche is going to be stronger, nothing can affect me. No misunderstandings can come in our life because we are internally, the resilience power is so much, we would not react on small things. So we need to nourish the mind with some very good thoughts, positive thoughts, purposeful thoughts, powerful thoughts. When we nourish the mind regularly, gradually we find the mind is becoming stronger and stronger. And no change, outside change, no problem, no challenge can affect the psyche. We are in our control and we can handle ourselves and we can handle the situations as well with power. We do not become subservient to problems. We do not become subservient to our senses, but we become masters of the self. We become masters of our tongue, because this is where everything starts spoiling. Words come out, misunderstanding takes place, and the relationship is spoiled. So, we are not subservient to our senses, but we are masters. So, we need to regularly nourish the mind with positive thoughts, spiritual wisdom, spiritual thoughts. This is the need of the hour. The second thing is rest, just as we need the body to rest. We may have a good massage, and after the good massage, we need to rest. Right? Similarly, we need to have the mind relaxation. And how do we relax the mind? Meditation means consciously relaxing the mind. Meditation, this word comes from a Latin word medere. And medere means to heal thyself from within. We heal ourselves with the spiritual thoughts that we have nourished the mind, and then we heal, we relax the mind. The more we are able to relax the mind, we become powerful. Right? So, for some moments in the morning time, in the evening time, we need to relax the mind. And the third is exercise. The exercise for the mind is whatever spiritual nourishment we have given to the mind, we need to exercise those thoughts in our practical life. This is the exercise. Those thoughts are not just for here. Those thoughts are not just for the mind. No, they have to be exercised in our practical life. So these are the three things to empower the psyche. And when the psyche is empowered, then we find that everything goes on very well in life. Right? So this is why the subject today, meditation, a positive response to stress. The inner resilience power have come down. We may educate people, but if their inner resilience is not increased, is not enhanced, they will never be able to be successful in their lives. And what is the goal of our life? We all want to be successful, isn't it? We all want to be successful. Yes, that is the aim of our life. In whichever field we are, we want to be successful. But how can we be successful? We can only be successful if we know how to empower ourselves. Become strong from within. The problems are going to increase. The situations are going to increase. The circumstances are going to increase. The stresses are going to increase. The challenges are going to increase. Everything is going to increase in the world. We cannot blame or complain. Oh, it was because of this. Oh, it was because of that. No, we can't complain. We cannot blame anyone. The only thing we can do is to empower ourselves, become powerful from within, increase our resilience power. Then we can, in adverse times, in adverse situations, in adverse circumstances also, we can handle ourselves, we can handle others, we can handle the situation. That is success. When we are able to handle everything appropriately, that is success, which gives satisfaction to the self, which brings satisfaction in all. Right? Right? Any questions? Any questions? Yeah?